Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. My name is Sam. I'm from Blueberry Vintage Company. It's a small little reselling shop that I have on Instagram, and if you want to go follow me over there, I'll put my handle over here. It's just Blueberry Vintage Company. Today I wanted to talk about how I got started reselling. I put a little question tab up on little question box up on my Instagram today, and I wanted to know what you guys had for questions, so I'm going to be going by that. But first, I just want to give a little background. Hold on. First, I started out as a subscription company. I made it myself, this little small business called Thrifting. So that's where my Instagram first started. My love of thrifting has been since high school, but I really got into it as an adult with my company called Thrifting, and what that was a subscription box where I would thrift children's clothing, and it was a monthly or seasonal subscription. Like, I can't even remember now, it was like 2 years ago. And basically I stopped doing that because it wasn't sustainable for me anymore, between the cost of the clothing, the shipping materials, the box, opening my website and paying for that. It just wasn't working anymore, so I stopped doing that. Plus I had just had my third child and I just needed a minute. So back in this past winter, my wife and I started flipping furniture. So she is so handy, like really handy with our DIY stuff at our house. And I love vintage stuff, so I thought it'd be a really cool venture for us. And she did her first couple flips and like was hooked, loved it. She's really talented and really good at it. But then my Instagram kind of took a turn. I got more passionate about my thrifting stuff because I would be posting like thrift hauls and thrift with me reels here and there, and I found that those did so much better than our furniture content. So that's kind of taken a back burner. As well as when I posted my thrifting content, I would get some messages and comments like, are you selling that? I'm interested if you ever get rid of that. So it started, you know, getting the gears going, and I'm like, I could just do this, like I'll resell. And so because I stay home with our toddler, it's something that I can help make money as well as stay home with him. So that's kind of my background, and that's where I'm at now. And so I'm gonna go to the questions on Instagram. You guys gave me lots of good ones, so I don't know if I'll be able to get to all of them, only because there's a lot and I don't want this to be like 30 minutes. Okay, so I have a lot of questions about shipping, so I definitely want to touch on that. So the first question was, where are the best places to buy shipping supplies? How do you calculate shipping? How do you figure out cost-effective shipping? Is shipping a hassle? Yeah, I'm just kidding. A little. So let me just talk about shipping. So what I do is I use Pirate Ship, and it's a website that you can get discounted shipping through. I believe it's free. I've had it for so long now. I've had it since I had Thrift Kid that now I don't remember if it was free or not to join. I'll look it up to make sure, and then I'll put up here if it was free or not. So I think it is. Anyway, you get your customers' information, put it all in there, and it will auto-generate their address if you put in even just like the beginning of their address. So it's super user-friendly, super easy to use. Put in the dimensions of the item, and then and the weight, and then it will get you your rates, and they'll be cheaper than what USPS would have been, or what UPS would have been. So I definitely recommend that, and I would recommend clicking insurance, like getting insurance on it. The other thing I want to mention about shipping, because I got some questions about materials and things like that, is along with insurance, make sure you're packing items extremely carefully. So one of the questions was, how do you ship fragile items? That scares me. Girl, it scares me too. I still get scared. I'm like, when it gets sent out, I'm like, please, please make it in one piece, because I've had some stuff break. And it is so sad. It is so disheartening and discouraging, and it honestly made me feel like a failure. Like, I'm like, wow, I can't even like ship something, you know. But no, it happens because the post office is brutal. My wife works for the post office, and she said unless you get special handling, which you can talk to the buyer, the customer, and see if they would like to pay for that. It costs extra if it's something so extremely fragile that you're worried about it getting broken, even with bubble wrap. But if you don't get special handling and you just write fragile on it, or even like mark that it's fragile, they're still tossing it down this big old conveyor belt, and it just lands where it lands no matter what. So the way I package things now that I've had a couple incidents is with bubble wrap. And I didn't use bubble wrap initially because I am reselling vintage goods and thrifted goods, and I thought like, wow, that's so counter like intuitive to create and generate trash that's gonna go in a landfill, especially plastic. So I was trying to use other materials, but honestly, bubble wrap is like, if I've got something super fragile, it's got to be bubble wrapped. So that's what I use, and making sure your boxes are sturdy so that they're not getting like squished in the post office trucks. And packing tape, that's all I use. You also, for shipping materials, you could get fancy and buy a sticker printer to just stick your labels onto the boxes, but I am not that fancy yet, and I still just print them from my printer. So when you go onto Pirate Ship, I will show you. I'm gonna go zooming too much in, but there is a label here, and you print that out, and I use just packing tape to stick it onto the box. But you could get a sticker printer, and that's something that I would love to level up to someday. So you put the label on there, and then I just use packing tape, and you just bring it right to your post office. So, and it's really easy for me because I have a wife who works at the post office, and she brings it all for me. So let me go on to the next question. Oh, how do you calculate shipping cost? So on the Pirate Ship website, it'll calculate it for you. So when you put in the dimensions of the box you're going to use and the weight, and if you don't have a scale, estimate, you know, I estimate all the time, and it'll tell you right there. It'll tell you for you. Do you sell on eBay, or do you have a booth at a local antique store? I don't sell on eBay. eBay scares me, but maybe someday. I sell on Etsy, and I sell on Instagram. I need to upload more of my items onto Etsy. I've been slacking. I had a bunch on there, and then they all sold, and it's just been like 2 things just chilling on there all alone. I did put a couple things on yesterday, but I mostly just sell on Instagram. And I do have a booth at this place in town, but after next month I will not anymore. Hours per week you spend doing it, as she had said in that same question. So hours per week, a lot. There's a lot that goes into it. It's super fun and rewarding, and I don't find it to be too much like of a job. The only like grueling task for me is the shipping. I don't enjoy packaging stuff up. Like, that's just not my favorite part. So that, after each sale that I do, that takes about an hour or so. I also spend time creating shipping labels, like entering everyone's info into Pirate Ship can be a little tedious, but it's fine. You have to wash items, so I wash like the items that I buy. I spend time taking photos, and I don't know, there's a lot that goes into it, and shopping for the items, like sourcing the items. So I haven't really broken that down into how many hours I spend, but it's quite a bit. I would say if I actually got down to it, if I'm not talking like social media, because I also am doing a lot of social media stuff, which I feel like I'm on my phone a lot. With just the reselling, I would say maybe like 20 to 30 hours a week. I don't know. That sounds like a lot. All right, so this says, how do I decide a platform to sell on? I'm gonna go ahead and say, if you are just starting out, I would start on Etsy. It is so user-friendly and easy to use, and it's like your own little website, and they get a cut of your sales. They get 6.5%, I believe, and then every time you upload an item, it's 20%, 20 cents, sorry. And the reason I would suggest Etsy is because it is such a used platform that when you put your tags and things like that in there, you'll most likely get more sales than you would if you were to start out selling on Instagram if you don't have a lot of followers. Also, it's very like streamlined, so the person who is buying something is the one who puts in all of their shipping info and all of their contact information and payment, so that you're not the one who has to do that. And also, if you're a little bit socially anxious or uncomfortable in the beginning, you're not really communicating with people, especially reselling, because if you were to go on Etsy and sell like digital prints or custom t-shirts or things like that, you're gonna need to talk to a customer. But when you're reselling, sometimes I'll shoot someone a message saying like, hey, I got your order, thank you so much, it'll be out in a few days or something like that. But you really don't have to talk too much to anybody, as opposed to if you were to sell on Instagram, you do. And then another way that you could start getting your foot in the water is maybe just selling some things on Facebook Marketplace, just because it's super easy to do that. You can give like the shipping option and start shipping stuff from there. There's a couple of different things. There's also Poshmark or Shopify, a lot of different platforms that you could sell on, but I would start with Etsy. Okay, how to find people to buy your items on IG. And then there was another question that was, what platform do you sell your stuff? How do you get the right followers to sell your items to? So a lot of questions about like how to get followers, how to get people to buy your stuff. And this is still something that I'm trying to figure out as well, but I can give you the info that I know. And what you'll need to do is make sure that your Instagram page, because I'm just going to talk about Instagram because that's what I have the most information on, and I'm pretty sure that that's what these people were asking about. So if you have an Instagram and you want to start reselling, my suggestion is make sure your page is as easy to understand as possible and uses the keywords that include your niche. So for example, I sell cottagecore thrifted items. My page in the description box says like cottagecore thrifting, says Maine, and Instagram will start pushing you out. They will push you out to people searching the keywords that you have on your page. So if you are reselling mid-century modern items, make sure you say mid-century modern reseller in your description, something like that. And every single time you post, make sure your keywords are in your captions. Make sure that's the words that you're saying in your reel. That way, the more times keywords are involved in your page and in your content, the more that Instagram is going to push that content onto people who are searching those keywords. I hope that makes sense. So another way to get followers and people to buy your stuff is to start following other resellers in your niche and communicating with them, engaging on their posts. You can even start following their people who follow them if you are similar to them. So if you start following people who are similar to what you want to emulate, so if you want to be a cottagecore reseller, and start following people who follow a cottagecore reseller. and those people might follow you back. A lot of times if you go to follow someone, it says like follow back, and a lot of times people will click it. So that's a really good way to, if you're very starting out, like if you have no followers whatsoever, that is a good way to start getting a few followers in. And my next suggestion is to make reels. Reels are what get you followers. That is what's being pushed out on Instagram, and that is like the way to grow. If you are just making stagnant photos, it's gonna take you a lot longer. So if you are thrifting your items, or if you are getting them at yard sales, or whatever you're doing, you can even film yourself just packaging something or cleaning your items that you found, and then put some words on the reel that somebody else could relate to. Create reels that are in your niche, that are related to your topic, so that way when people see your reel, if they follow you, you have more of that kind of stuff on your page, so that they'll actually follow you. And make sure you engage with them. So if they comment on your post, make sure you comment back. That's what's going to get people to stick around. Also, something that you could do is make a boosted ad. Like sometimes you'll post something on Instagram and it'll say boost underneath. That's paying for an ad to be run. And so if you're having a sale, if you're just starting out, it might be worth the money to have an ad put out on Instagram, and you can have it for as long as you want. Like you can set the parameters, you can set how many people you want to be shown to, all those things. I've done that a couple times when I first started out, and it did get me a few new followers. So that, combined with engaging with other people in your niche, as well as tell your friends and family. I know it's like uncomfortable maybe for you, but that's who your, warm market is in the beginning. So don't be afraid to share it on your personal page too. All right, next question. Oh, it's the photos that overwhelm me. How to show defects and details. So my biggest tip would be to use natural lighting, and make sure that you do show the defects so that you're transparent. Also, giving a disclaimer every time you have a sale, if you are going to sell on Instagram, saying, this, I do it on mine, the stuff that you're buying is used, it's second hand, it's vintage, it's old, it's going to have imperfections, but you definitely want to be transparent. And don't be afraid to post something that has imperfections, because a lot of times people will still buy it as long as it's not like crumbling, but you can just use your phone. Sometimes I use my phone to take photos. I do use my camera a lot of the times because I feel like it gets more clear photos. But now, like the camera on my phone is like almost as good as my camera. So you can just use your phone. But if you have natural lighting, that's when it looks like a professional photo. So natural lighting. Okay, I think I covered lots of the shipping stuff. How do you price? Okay, that's a good one. So I price my items by looking them up on Google Lens, and then trying to look at least 3 listings and kind of do like an average. You might look something up and be like, oh my gosh, this is worth like $500. It's like, it's really not, because if you see that it's listed for that, like it hasn't sold, has it? That means nobody's paying that. So unless you're like at an auction or something, or you're like a collector of something super rare, like the prices are not going to be as crazy as you think they are that you see on Google Lens. So continue to like scroll through and try to find like the lowest price, the highest price, and then another price, and kind of go in the middle. My goal is to always get double what I paid for something, at least. Hopefully triple, but at least double. And I feel like nowadays I just kind of price based off of, vibes. Once you start doing it, you kind of are like, oh yeah, that's 12. Oh, that's 16. Oh, that's, you'll get like, you just like know what something's worth. Sometimes I find something though that I've never ever priced before, so I will look it up. But, where is the best place to buy shipping supplies? I have not done a very good job of like pricing out the cheapest, but I did see that there is like a huge roll of bubble wrap on Amazon for like, I think it was like $20 for like over 100 feet, which I think is a really good price. I've been getting mine at Target just because that's where I get everything. And it's a roll like this. I think it's 20 feet for $5. That's not probably a very good price, but that's just like where I get everything. So and then boxes, I have a source, a plug if you will. My friend gets a lot of packages, so she gives me her boxes. So I would suggest finding friends or family who get a lot of packages and ask if you can take their boxes off of their hands, or just even if they don't get a lot of packages, maybe you can get like 5 friends and be like, can you please just save your boxes for me, and do like a weekly pickup, because people might appreciate you taking it off their hands. And if you can't get like secondhand boxes, U-Haul, Lowe's, Home Depot, Walmart, they all have boxes. Inventory size, like how much inventory I have, is a lot. I have a lot of stuff. I really should probably not have so much stuff. I have a lot, but I don't know. I would say like a basement full of stuff. But I use I get a lot of stuff because I like to make like my reels and get content and stuff, and then I like eventually will sell it and things like that. But you don't need like a huge collection of inventory, because you can, you know, go sourcing, find your stuff, and just sell that and just keep doing that. I don't think there's any rhyme or reason. The best part of this is that it's really all on you. Like, you get to decide what your business looks like, what your time management looks like, and all of that. It's all up to you. There's no rules, so you can have as much stuff as you want, as long as you have space, I guess. Okay, I'm gonna pick one more, and then I might have to make a part 2 if you guys want like more like behind the scenes of like day to day, like maybe something about like how I stay organized, which I really have a hard time with. Anything like that, let me know. Let's see. Ooh, generally your experience selling online versus in a monthly booth. Okay, I'll answer that one and then be done. So in my experience, I have been at a booth in an antique store, and the people were lovely, and I really enjoyed having the space. It's really fun to like see your stuff, like almost like a little store. But having kids, it's really hard for me to like physically bring stuff and keep it stocked and also sell online. Like, it's too many things. And also I didn't make that much money there. They were so nice though, but so I felt bad leaving. But I left there, and then I started in this monthly vintage market locally, and next month will be my last month. I think I already said that, but yeah, for reasons that I don't really want to touch on. But I actually find it so hard to have a physical spot. I think if you don't have kids, then I think it's a great option, because then you get to like see all of your things together, and if it's a busy spot, then you can make a lot of money. But they take a cut of your income, like they take a cut of your sales, and you also pay a booth rental. So if you think you'll make more than those things, then it's a good option. But I found that I didn't really make that much money, and it was kind of a lot of work personally. So unless you're in like a super busy place and you don't have kids and it's like more of like a fun thing for you, I suggest online, because online is just like the way of the world now, and it's just so much easier. People can get it shipped to them, you know what I mean? And also I found having an actual storefront area that people would still ask me like, can I buy that now? And it's like, I'm spending all this time and energy like stocking the booth, and then people just want to buy it online. I might as well just like keep the online situation going. But that's all I have for today. I don't know what time it is, but let me know if you want a part 2. I had a lot more questions, but I just feel like I've been talking for a really long time. And also, if you have any other video suggestions, put them down in the comments. Make sure you subscribe. It really helps my channel. Like this video if you like this type of video, and I can do more, and I really appreciate you. Thank you. Bye.